Water baptism is a very important part of being born again. There's a few reasons why, but let's start with what Jesus said about water baptism. He said, anyone who believes and is baptized will be saved, but anyone who refuses to believe will be condemned. Water baptism is so important that Jesus includes it when explaining how to be saved. At the same time, he does not mention baptism in the second half of this verse. This means that we should prioritize baptism while understanding that it's not required for salvation. The only thing required for salvation is believing in Jesus. Even so, we should not put off water baptism. It's an important step of obedience as a believer. God does a supernatural work in our hearts when we are water baptized. And here's how the Apostle Paul explains it. He says, when you came to Christ, you were circumcised, but not with a physical procedure. Christ performed a spiritual circumcision, the cutting away of your sinful nature. For you were buried with Christ when you were baptized, and with him you were raised to new life because you trusted the mighty power of God who raised Christ from the dead. In the Old Covenant, before Jesus, circumcision was the seal of the covenant between God and the people of Israel. If a Jewish man was not circumcised, there was no way to tell that he belonged to God. Likewise, water baptism is the seal of the new covenant between Christ and believers. It's the physical way that we show that we now belong to Christ. When you go down into the water, it symbolizes your old self being crucified with Christ. You then come up out of the water, a new person, raised from spiritual death. A believer who has not been water baptized often struggles more with sin because they don't yet have the confidence of knowing that old man is gone. But water baptism gives you that confidence and leads you to a new level of freedom. Finally, water baptism is the public declaration of your faith. It shows that you are not ashamed of your faith in Christ. You want everybody to know, and by letting everybody know, you will inspire others to do the same.